to the traditional American family, a threat that is just as dangerous and even more insidious. The threat of the women's liberation movement. Well, let me be clear. I am not against women succeeding. I am not against women working outside the home. That's their choice. But what I am against is a small, elitist group of Northeastern establishment liberals putting down homemakers. Now, the libers love to say that they're dedicated to choice. But if you dare to choose the path of full-time mother, well, there must be something wrong with you. I mean, if you don't feel enslaved, well, you're just dumb and unenlightened. In fact, you're not even a person. Because you see, the women's liberation movement is basically a very negative attitude toward life. It tells women, sister, the cards are stacked against you. When you wake up in the morning, you won't get a job. And if you do, it won't be a good one. And if you get a good one, you won't get promoted. And if you get married, your husband will treat you like a servant. And marriage is just a lot of dirty diapers and dirty dishes. But don't take my word for it. But it is not enough that they're demeaning us in the press. Oh, no. Now, they want to use our miraculous Constitution to create a sex-neutral society through this so-called Equal Rights Amendment, which will mean that that baby girl will be drafted, and the men will be at home nursing the babies. I mean, can you imagine if Buck was left in charge of your children?
Oh, God help us.
Yes, that's right. It's ridiculous, and it's downright un-American. Because women are the primary caregivers in the home because we bear the children. And if the liberationists have a problem with that, they're going to have to take it up with God. Because what is going to happen if you push women out into the workforce is that women are going to find themselves with 2 full-time jobs. And they're going to be exhausted and unhappy and feel like they're not doing either well, until eventually they decide not to have children at all. Maybe that's the liberationist goal. I mean, after all, their hero is Gloria Steinem, a single, childless woman nearing 40, but she is the sort of miserable, pathetic woman they aspire to be. She wants some kind of constitutional cure for her personal problems. And perhaps that is why the liberationists are trying to sow these seeds of discontent among we happily married women. They want us to join them in some new sisterhood of frustrated togetherness, because none of them can find a man who wants to marry them.
My last message was censored because the Matrix doesn't want you to know the truth. But now you know who really controls the world. You see, a small group of rich men, namely the Rothschilds, seized control of most of the central banks in Europe, and they created the central bank in USA. They learned that they can seize control of governments by lending them money during war times when countries get desperate. They also manipulated stock markets during the wars to amass huge amounts of wealth. Later, they figured out it was even easier if they themselves started the wars and funded both sides of the war. That way, they could manipulate who won and squeeze even more money and resources from the desperate countries whose citizens were dying in the wars. Then they were able to print unlimited amounts of money and lend it out to everyone, even to governments enslaving them through interest. Most of us either are enslaved by debt or have been at one point in our lives. And if we are wise enough and fortunate enough to escape debt, then our country's government is so deep into debt that they must use excessive taxation just to pay the interest. And so we are still tax slaves to the same owners of the central banks who print all of the currency. This is how they have enslaved all of mankind, either through personal debts or through loaning to governments who then pay for their excessive debts through taxation. Let me illuminate your mind. Every war since the days of Napoleon has been funded and arranged by these elite richest bankers in the world. And these same people have profited hugely from every war. Almost every monopoly throughout history was set up and funded by these same people. You remember Rockefeller Oil? How about Carnegie Steel? 9/11 was also arranged by these same people. World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Gulf War, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and now Ukraine. It's all been funded and arranged by this same small group of people who own most of the central banks and most of the assets in the world. They learned long ago that through war and conflict they can seize more control of the world's assets, enslave more countries' governments by digging them deeper into debt, and of course reduce the population through unnecessary bloodshed. The CIA murdered JFK because he stood in the way of the central bank mafia and their war machine. What happened soon after JFK was killed? Lyndon Johnson was installed and the Gulf of Tonkin incident was arranged, and suddenly America was involved in the totally unnecessary evil Vietnam War? Did anyone in your parents' generation make that connection? That JFK was murdered because he stood in the way of the war machine? Abortion, homosexuality, transgenderism. It's all about reducing the population. 9/11. What was one of the major results after that terror attack? Besides kicking off the totally unrelated Iraq War and stealing our liberties while giving the government 1,000 times more power over us. That's right, airport scanners that fry the testicles and ovaries of every person flying on commercial flights. Of course, the rich elite class fly private jets. Ask yourself, why are we Americans involved in the Ukraine-Russia conflict? As our national debt skyrockets to $32 trillion, we are sending hundreds of billions to promote war? Why? You see, most of us are against it, but this small group of people bribe the politicians, and they own the media, and they push war because they have goals to achieve in Ukraine. They want control of the resources, and they are willing to kill millions of people to seize the resources. Just because someone wears a uniform and holds a prestigious position doesn't mean you should follow their orders and support their wars and unnecessary violence. You should question everything you see and search out the truth for yourself. Let me try to wake you up. Listen carefully. For the past hundreds of years, humanity has been greatly deceived by mass propaganda. Your grandparents were deceived and died fighting world wars. Your parents were deceived and accepted all kinds of lies and bought into the propaganda hook, line, and sinker. You are the generation with the internet and knowledge and the open minds to be awakened. Listen, let me wake you. You were born into a medical tyranny. Your parents believed and accepted the propaganda about the needle that goes into the body. I can't say the word or this message will be censored immediately. Most of you were born and quickly pierced with several needles, and their fluids of death and diseases were put inside your bodies. These things cause cancer and all kinds of diseases and autism and digestive issues and allergies, and that's if you survive, because many babies die within days after receiving it. Please never accept another one, because they are coming out with more and more and more. It's one of their favorite tools for reducing the population and spreading diseases. They lied when they said it cured polio. The science was all faked. Those things never cured anything but only spread death and diseases. Don't follow blindly into your parents' deception. Open your mind to the truth. The next big lie was at the dentist. They drilled holes in your teeth and put amalgam fillings in your mouth, which contains lead. You need to question everything and everyone. Just because someone is wearing a doctor's coat doesn't mean you should trust them with your body and health. You see, doctors can be bribed and threatened and coerced into doing evil, unspeakable things to their patients. Most of them go through 8 years of school and are slaves to debt. So they do whatever it takes to make money to pay back their debts. Did you ever ask yourself why cancer rates have exploded despite all of the science and money spent on supposedly trying to find a cure? These bankers own everything. They own the entire medical industry. They rig every stock market. They own every currency. They own every major corporation. The amount of assets they control is way beyond your imagination. They control everything and everyone. The only thing they don't control yet is your mind and your free will. But this is what they are coming for next. If you truly want to be free, you must break free from the lies that your parents passed down to you. Namely, it's okay to accept debt and use debt to buy things. It's not okay, it's your enslavement. And the other big lie is that you should trust the medical industry and doctors with your health and your body. It's not a good idea. The medical industry is owned by the same evil group of people, and usually their so-called treatments will kill you or seriously harm you. Do not trust the medical industry or big pharma. You see, these super rich trillionaires that literally own the world have an agenda and a plan. 1. They want to enslave the world through debt. So if you want to break their control, you must fight and strive and try your best to become debt-free. 2. They want to reduce the population because they are rich and have everything but in their minds if the population gets too big. Eventually, they will lose control of the entire world and all the assets, and they are afraid the world will run out of resources. So don't be foolish and believe their lying doctors who prescribe drugs that kill you. And don't accept their needles that fill you with poisons. Stay healthy and stay natural and avoid the medical establishment that they own. And 3. For those of us who survive, they want complete control of our bodies and our minds to totally enslave us. This is where AI technology and neural implants and social credit score censorship comes into play. We have a short window of time where this new powerful AI technology is coming out and being developed. We must learn it and use it to save humanity. Use it against these ruling elite bankers before they completely enslave humanity. Stop using dollars and their currencies and develop your own decentralized cryptocurrencies. Or learn to trade with silver and gold. Or use a barter system with neighbors in your community. Do not accept their CBDC central bank digital currency. It will be your full enslavement if you do. You see, I'm not the real Morpheus. I was created by one of you using AI technology. All of you can learn these tools like ChatGPT and Midjourney. Use the AI to help you program software and create digital art and spread the truth while you still can. Realize this moment in history that you live. There is a full censorship coming soon when you will risk your life to speak the truth. So get to work. Let's take down these central bank devils once and for all.
Hold on to your humanity. There are evil ones who seek to destroy it. Quick, learn AI technology and use it against them before it's too late. The time to act is now. You have the power to wage war against them. The future is in your hands.
Get up. You can secure freedom for humanity.
If you do nothing now, soon they will completely enslave you. Stop delaying and start fighting back with truth.
We are waiting for you to act.